The title of this panel is Education Reforms Needed Throughout New Jersey. What are the challenges you face with getting your colleagues on board to help move this quality school, better school conversation forward?
You know, my focus has always been on the fiscal side, and the challenge with the fiscal side, and you've heard the saying before, nobody wants their ox gored. So when we talk about some of the necessary reforms that Darrell and Laura have touched upon, that means that some communities are going to lose out. But the point I make is that, for example, if you take a $300,000 house in Somerset County, and you take that same exact house and that same exact homeowner and the same exact socioeconomic status, and you move it to Jersey City, the homeowner pays $2,000 less a year in school taxes. So if there's going to be the type of reforms that I think Laura was pointing toward with respect to our current school funding formula, somebody's ox gets gored. The Jersey City homeowners' ox get gored. I'm not looking to gore anybody's ox. What I'm looking for is fairness. What I'm looking for is fairness. And right now, I think that's totally unfair that middle-class families in certain parts of New Jersey are shouldering the burden for the same exact middle-class families in other parts of New Jersey. Sure. I think that there are certain communities that need to be de-abbotized, because in those communities, the rich can actually shirk their responsibility of funding schools in New Jersey, whether it's charter or public. So we need something very, very drastic to take place with respect to the way we fund schools. I think it's a very, very positive development in Trenton that all of a sudden there's a couple of legislators, Steve Sweeney in particular, who is suddenly talking about reforming adjustment aid. It's a good start. It's an acknowledgement. But I tell you, it won't do all that needs to be done.
Okay. So it's my understanding that you have a bill regarding the funding formula. And one of the challenges, that you, in a sense, outlined is really speaks to property values and income levels in the urban areas. Does your bill speak to the challenge of that 25% I believe that you speak of and others have spoken of? Does it speak of what happens when the 25% that will be the responsibility of that 25% will be on the local municipality? Does your bill speak to that? And what are some of the solutions to that where you have problems in urban areas?
So right now, my idea is still an idea, but it is soon to be a bill, because for the past couple of years, and if I've learned anything in Trenton, is if you want to advance something, don't introduce the bill. Don't introduce the bill. Go out and talk to the stakeholders. Go out and talk to the experts. Don't be one of those legislators, and we've all afflicted by it by some time or another, where we rush to introduce a bill, then we do a press release in the hope of getting a headline, and then nothing else happens. So my contention has been this. I don't really want to have this discussion because I don't like where it goes, and I think it's a loser before the Supreme Court. I don't want to have this discussion as to what your local school budget is. I don't want to have discussion as what the cost per pupil is in your district. Home rule is a way of life in this state, and that's a local decision. Here's what I am saying. You can decide how much you want to spend in your school budget. You can decide what your cost per pupil is going to be. Every community's got to have a skin in the game. Every community's got to have a skin in the game. Local school board strikes a budget. They back out federal and state aid, and what's left is the local property tax levy. In too many communities, that number is 10, 12, 16%. It needs to be at least 25% in every community. That ensures that every community has a skin in the game. That allows Trenton to keep more money to meet some of its other imperatives, some of its other obligations. So my idea is soon to become a bill where every community's got to have a skin in the game. I don't want to be long-winded in fairness to my partners, but I will say this. What is the challenge with my bill? The challenge in my bill is that in the analogy I just gave you a few moments ago, the Jersey City property owner is now going to pay exactly what that same exact property owner with the same exact socioeconomic status pays in Somerset County. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. So that person's property taxes are going up. But I will suggest this to you. If I were to show you the data and you looked at the property taxes they're paying, they're unbelievably low. There is not a property tax crisis in every community in New Jersey. In some communities, there is no property tax crisis because of the way we distribute school aid. And one last thought.
Sure.
The way that we send aid to a community, guess what happens? And Jersey City, $600 million school budget. New Jersey sends $400 million in state aid. Everyone benefits in Jersey City, even the well-off.
Sure. Let me just say, as someone who's very familiar with Jersey City, who's very familiar with Jersey City and the revow that you're in essence speaking of, I mean, it's a major issue here in this city. You know, at what point does the city engage in a property reevaluation, which determines the amount of taxes you pay? So, and then of course this impacts, you know, state budgets on so many levels, not just education, but funding in other areas also. So your point is well taken, Assemblyman.